Alright guys, first, the steering is done in this video. It's been raining like crazy in Florida, very cold, for Florida at least, and so we're not taking it out yet. Also because I've spent way too much time, way more time than I thought on this steering, but I came up with something that I have not seen before that I think works pretty well. But please give me your comments, positive, negative, thoughts, changes. I learn by learning. And so if there's a way for us to do this differently, if there's a way for me to improve on the design, I'll take it. Please give me your comments. Here's what I did. So the first thing we need to do is attach the custom steering console to the boat. I'm using a piece of aluminum L bracket to do this. Then we're going to attach it to the sides of the boat, at least temporarily. I'll put more screws in it later. We do seal them on the way in. A lot to clean up as I go, so we'll do some cable management, tie these things together. I'll keep it loose near the end of the boat so we get some flexibility, but we'll tie these back to the battery area. All right, so my current thought is to use this block that I intended to use previously to stand off this guy. And so we right now would be angled to the left. We would be turning left. And so if I did this, I gotta get an arm from here to there. Let's see how far this guy will go. 2 more inches, if I can get it out of this. Just eyeballing it on the ground. Okay, let's just try that. Not quite. Okay, found the end. Alright, so we're not going to take it further than about there. That might be okay. It means I just can't turn all the way. I don't know that I need the full range, right? Right? That's not going to work because the arm's not long enough. Now I do have this other one. Okay, maybe. Alright, I think what I need to do is mount the steering cable. I mean, I really don't think it's going to get better than it is. I mean, I can't make it longer or shorter. So it sort of is what it is. Okay, that's temporary. Then I think I don't need this bracket. Actually, what if I did it like this? Does that make it better? I think I need a longer arm that does not have a bend in it. We're gonna look for a longer arm with a longer neck. All right, we're gonna try something entirely different. As promised, I have tinkered with this. I've played with the arms. I've thought about buying another arm. And what I can't get past is that I think I need to get this steering tube back up where it belongs. So what I'm proposing is, if I could get this to here, if I could go through this bolt and put a piece of all thread in its place and somehow get this tube to like here, then I think it would work. So just eyeballing it, I would need it to be 4 inches long by about an inch high. Let's call it by 7 with spacers. So what I'm wondering is, can I take this steering tube, here's 7 inches apart, which would surround that mount, and essentially have a welder make me 2 pieces of steel that would stand off the steering tube in the right position and allow me to connect the engine mount up that way. I discussed possibly welding these on here, which I still could do, but I've got L aluminum right now. And so I think the L is going to actually provide it more stability. So I think I'm going to cut these down and temporarily screw them in, maybe permanently, but basically still do the same thing except cut a hole here and run it through there and see if that'll work. Steering tube will go through here, and then the 1/2 inch all thread will go back through here. One model set. Let's take a look at how she works.
So I got to cut the top back a little bit because it's going to ride too high right here.
We've made a couple of twins here. Really, they're opposites. We're going to try them out. The idea is that through this bolt, we're going to have these guys down here. Steering tube comes through it. So in theory, I think that would work. Let's take this nut off, see what we're dealing with. All thread's too big. Ooh, look at that. All thread is too big, but we can at least kind of fake it here. In fact, I will put this nut back on. Now let's see if we can steer well. Okay, we got the right all thread. We went down to a quarter, I believe, maybe 3/8. We're going to get installed. Okay. So dealing with this steering cable is the hardest part. It's not very flexible. It wants to go where it wants to go. Getting it in the right position where it's not too far port or starboard of the engine is the hardest challenge. I think that will work. Alright, so we accidentally changed the camera settings on this last little bit and recorded it in slow motion. So I'm going to speed it back up for us, but we're not going to get the audio. So just tightening everything up. I definitely think it's going to work. We're going to try it again. I think the range we're getting from both port to starboard is fine. So the next step after testing this is just to get it all greased up and tighten down, washers, etc. Make it work. So I'm using a Quicksilver marine grease on all of this. So dabbing it on and then sort of settling it out with my finger and then wiping the excess down as I pass it through the cable. So we got to do the same for the excess that comes out from under the steering, and so we're just going to run it all the way out. We're going to lube it up with marine grease, and then we're going to bring it back in and put the cover on there so that grease is not hanging out. So we're calling that done. We're gonna move on. We got one thing left. I almost forgot we had it, which is the throttle and transmission controls. We're gonna put them in the next video. We're gonna let this rain and cold weather pass in Florida, and we're gonna get this boat back in the water.